What's up, everyone? This is Matt, that's Dan, and that's Opey, and you are watching TV Punch for Tuesday, September 1st, and we are tonight going to talk about this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. It's episode number 2. Premiered on Sunday, August 30th, and we all finally got a chance to see it. We all wanted to get a chance to talk about it. Now, Opie was not here with us last week, so I actually don't know what he thinks about the first or second episode, and I know Dan and I were more or less on the same page. Dave didn't like it last week, so we kicked him out. And Tim liked it pretty well, but he has to work. So
he may jump in at some point.
Hopefully it will. But for now, it's just the three of us. So before you go, Dan, Opie, I want to hear what you think about these two so far.
Okay, so when the trailer came out for this show, I was kind of when I first heard the idea that they were going to run a spinoff, and it was going to be a prequel to The Walking Dead, and then they were going to name it Fear the Walking Dead, I kind of thought, well, that's a bunch of baloney. We're going to just get a stupid show that you're just trying to cash in on the already cash cow that is The Walking Dead. So I was like, I wasn't too excited about it. Then I saw the trailers, and I thought, man, I was like, that is a really good concept for a show where they're going to show the origin of whatever is turning people into zombies, and they're going to show kind of how it came about, and then what you could do is you could put how we were and how it became The Walking Dead, and how people kind of the world got to how it was from where we're at with watching The Walking Dead. Then I watched the first couple episodes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I wasn't really impressed. I was disappointed. And that's just weird. I'm disappointed in a totally different way than I thought I would be disappointed, because I talked to my brother about this, and he has been hearing that people think it's a really slow show, and I think it's sped up way too fast. I think that they should basically have went into more detail, told a little bit more about the characters, built up a little bit more, and it's like 2 episodes and they're already getting ready to start the apocalypse. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous how things are just, people are sick, nobody even knows why. It's just basically nobody cares, nobody's even wondering. And then all of a sudden they just let everybody out of school, and then nobody goes to work anymore, and there's people dying on the front lawn. And how much time has elapsed? Because you got the dope fiend, the heroin guy wakes up. He spends 2 nights in the hospital, and then when he gets out of the hospital, there's people already been eaten alive. Seriously? Seriously.
And you said you didn't get a chance to watch our episode from last week, but you and Dave must have watched the same show, and I think you guys watched it at 5 times speed. Because how much
I don't understand how slow you need it.
Like that's what I was like. And we said this to Dave last week. Is like, how slow do you want it to go? Because any slower, and it's just gonna they're not even gonna the apocalypse isn't even gonna happen by the end of the season.
You could start. Okay, so they're in a school, right? Okay, so she works. What is she? Security or vice principal?
She's a guidance counselor.
Guidance counselor. Okay.
So did you watch the show?
Yes. But I didn't pay I didn't pay a lot of attention to the second one because it was so just freaking boring. The second episode, I barely watched it.
Well, I guess you're not going to be here on next week's episode then.
Yeah, we'll have to pop in for the show.
But I just don't understand, the guy. How? Okay.
That whole statement I wouldn't put as a soundbite. That
what
guy
triggers? I know I'm not supposed to know this, but they could give us a little story, they could give us a little build up of the family and the guys. They kind of cram the whole the lost estranged son who's addicted to heroin, and he's ran away, and they're all worried about him all the time, and he's trying to rip the family apart, and then you have 2 different families that are from, divorced, and they have different parents, and one's from one side and one's from the other. But it just...
My question is, you just explained the character arc. So how much slower did you need it to go to figure out the character arc?
Okay. I just wanted a little bit more build up. I wanted people to get Like, okay, it's been a couple of weeks now, and there's kids that are dropping out left and right. Oh man, did you see how? I mean, I know I worked out at the hospital, and we've just been working overtime, and then all of a sudden, there's no real. It just feels like it breaks loose.
Well,
Way
you
too
got to think
quick.
about this. The season is only 6 episodes.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I
Okay.
mean, they don't have very much time to work with. And if this were real, I mean, this thing would spread fast. I mean, so Nick wakes up at the beginning of the first episode and sees his girlfriend eating somebody because she's already turned. So then that person turns. I mean, this thing would spread really, really quick, especially given the fact that it's easy to get because if somebody, a walker comes up to you and bites you, then you've got it too. And nobody knows what we're dealing with. So nobody's developing a cure. Nobody knows what's going on. So there's nothing to stop it. It's just going to keep going, going,
I
going.
I have to say this. There's no apocalypse yet. The riot that happens in number 2 is a riot of people that are mad at the cops that are shooting people.
Yes.
Right.
This is not a
Right.
riot of zombies. There's
Right.
nobody know there's zombies. There's people that think that stuff has happened to certain people, or they don't know what's happened to them, like the principal in the second episode, or her going back to her boyfriend in this episode. She doesn't know what's happening, or the family member getting jumped out in the front yard. Yes, that family knows. They're concentrating on a family that has seen the most out of anybody.
Okay.
Nobody else knows what's going on. I mean, the people that were rioting were mad because the cops were shooting people in the face. They don't know why the cops are shooting people in the face or dropping
So
people.
yeah, and we're just going to kind of jump around, and again, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. But we won't go scene by scene. But like, so speaking of that riot, I thought that was really interesting because these people are just seeing the cops shoot a guy repeatedly and then shoot him in the head for quote doing nothing. But what the cops are seeing is, hey, we unloaded on this guy and he's still coming.
Right.
And then later they see the cops shoot a girl through the eye, and to them the cops are just going nuts, but they don't see what the cops see. So I thought that was really interesting that it looks like the cops are going nuts, but they know they don't even really know what they're doing, but they know why they're doing it. I mean, I thought
They
that
just
was really
see
really
a threat coming at them
Yeah.
nonstop that won't stop. Now, the other thing is, too, that it is a slow buildup. As the show is going on, more emergency services are starting to go crazy. The hospitals are filling up. There's news on the radio as they're driving that cops are having more shootings, that this is all increasing. Nobody knows of a zombie apocalypse yet. They just know that a sickness has happened in 5 states and that it's starting to spread. And even in the first episode, it still took a few days before the schools started dropping out people. And again, it was just a sickness. It's like when the flu hits
Right.
a whole area and they start closing schools
close
because
schools.
most kids are out for the flu. So it's just this basic thing. Nobody knows anything. I think everybody's freaking out that they're going too fast is because they're showing everything from one family's perspective. The rest of the world doesn't know this is happening. They know weird stuff is going on and they don't understand why cops are shooting people and they don't understand all this stuff. But the zombie apocalypse starts with 1 or 2 people. It starts the very first episode with his girlfriend, pothead, crack chick. And then it goes from there to more homeless people are disappearing, to more ambulance services and EMTs are running and all this stuff. It is a slow buildup, in my opinion. I think if it got slower, we're watching a melodrama.
Yeah, I think any
Teenage
slower.
Maybe I'm nitpicking. I just thought that the whole reaction of the family was kind of lame in the first episode, where they kill the drug dealer back over him with the truck, and nobody's telling the police. Why are they not reporting this to anybody?
Because nobody knows what's happening. That's
They don't.
the
They
thing.
don't know what to tell the
Right
police.
now,
I mean,
the police are going crazy. They're shooting multiple people. There's all kinds of car backs up and traffic jams everywhere in the city. There's a riot going on because all this is happening. Even if you call the cops, what are you going to tell them? I saw somebody walk after I hit him with my car. I don't understand what's going on. The cops are going to kind of flip out. I mean, why did you run somebody over? They
Exactly.
don't know what's happening. So they can't really throw that out there. Now, I get your point. You and Dave both were the same way, and I'm sorry you guys have wrong opinions.
Yep.
But
everybody's entitled to their opinion, no matter how wrong it is.
I still don't like the wife. I think she's a terrible actress.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're wrong there because that's
Well,
Matt
I
Saracen's
watched-
mom,
She
and
was in House of
she's
Cards, and I was tired of her. And she's awful in House of Cards too.
Matt likes her because she was in Friday Night Lights. I
was she in
can't
Friday Night
get
Lights?
behind her.
she was Matt Saracen's mom. Remember, he went and found her in season 2 or 3. She abandoned him, but then she came back to stay with his grandma. so he could play football
There
and
you
become a wide receiver in season 3 instead
you
of
go.
quarterback.
Yeah, totally. Remember
When,
that?
when J.D. McCoy took over.
Right. Is
You
this
don't
a
remember
Fear the Walking Dead or a Friday Night Lights podcast?
Okay.
Dude, we should do a Friday Night Lights podcast.
No, you two can. Back, sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulty there. We were talking about Friday Night Lights and the actress that was playing that part. Matt is a fan of her, and they want to do a Friday Night Lights podcast.
We totally
Anyway.
should. Everybody would watch it because everybody loves that show.
But we were just discussing that. The actress herself, I still can't get behind her. Matt really likes her. Opie's with me, kind of. We're not big fans of her. Everybody else in the show, I think, does a great job, and I like the family that they brought into this one as well. Even though there's not much interaction from them, and you don't hear much from them, the barbershop owner and his wife and their daughter.
Well, they are going to be integral parts of the story. Like they're going to be main cast members, so we will definitely get more of them.
Okay.
So-
Well, they seem, because they actually roll on the IMDb. They're like listed first, so I'm guessing they're going to be a lot more.
Yeah. They're a big
episode.
part of the show. They will be a big part of the show. So
Yep. I enjoyed probably the first episode a little bit more than this one. The second half of the second episode I liked more. I'm with Matt a little bit more. The daughter is trifling. I get tired of her, and I knew she was going to leave when your mom left her there.
Yeah.
I was like, "Don't you do
Well,
it?
she tried
Don't
to.
you do it?" And she just started heading for the door. I'm like, "You son of a!" And it's just like they're trying to help. They're trying to help her. I understand. She's a teenage girl. She thinks the world revolves around her and her boyfriend in high school, and that's all life exists around. And we've all been there and whatnot. We've all been in high school. We all know what that is. We don't understand what the real world is like. And so she comes across trifling, but I think she's playing the teenage, just dumb daughter like any other family would have her do. But it was very irritating, this one.
last week I said she was teenage Lori, being all trifling and
Right.
stuff.
So, do you think that why do you think the family got the idea to start packing water and start rationing supplies? I mean,
Well, I think they just want to get away from the city.
They know that
they
there's
wanna go to the
something
desert.
going
What's
around.
the desert that they were talking about? Do they have a house, a cabin out there?
Well, they're in Los Angeles. They can just head out to Nevada or just head east and be out in the desert.
Yeah, I don't think they
It's
mean like the middle of the desert, out in the middle of nowhere.
I think they're just
they
trying
mean-
to get out somewhere
Yeah.
away from all this.
Yeah.
I think it's not even because they've seen Calvin and him get run over and them try to kill him and then Calvin keep coming back. They've seen that. They freaked out about that. They've seen the neighbor get jumped. They've seen Matt when they went to get their daughter. So they know that something crazy is going on, and so they're kind of like at the forefront of it.
Well,
seems
and don't
like,
forget-
they just want to get out of there.
Don't forget the whole bit at the school too with the principal.
Yes. So she had to beat the crap out of the principal with the
Yeah.
freaking fire extinguisher, and that whole part. So it's like,
Let me tell you-
that family knows something's going crazy.
And let me tell you what I loved. Okay, so I loved a couple. I liked this episode. I really liked the first one. I was really into it. I like this episode even more because the things are starting to really happen now, and they're starting to realize that something is going on. We don't really know what it is, but something's going on. But one of the things there were three things that I really liked, and one of them was the bit in the school where she and Tobias were there. Principal comes out, starts attack. It's Madison, right? Is her character's name?
Yes.
Yes, Madison Clark.
Yeah, the principal starts attacking her. Tobias runs up and goes and stabs him, and of course it doesn't work. He goes to stab him in the head, and it doesn't work. And I liked that because we see so much of that in The Walking Dead, and it's easy for them because the walkers are so rotted and brittle.
Good point. I didn't really
But
think
in
about
this
that. I thought
one-
he was just a lazy.
Well, and I
I
think
thought he was just a
you
wimp.
chalk it up to non-athletic person.
Well, and I
Yeah,
think part
yeah.
of it too is it's not a very good knife, but that weapon in The Walking Dead would have worked. But I thought it was really, really interesting that he went for the kill shot, but because he's a fresh walker and he's not really rotting and decaying yet, it didn't work. I mean, it's think about if
Yeah,
you
it's
tried to
hard.
do that if in your own head. I mean, it would hurt, but I mean, I don't if you
I
don't,
know. We know what you mean.
yeah. So I thought that was really interesting.
I wonder if Tobias is going to last long.
I think he's gonna die eventually. eventually because he's the guy that knows everything. So like,
IMDb kind of cheats a little bit, so it has them listed for 2 episodes. So they're not like going all like the main characters are all listed for 6 or 7 episodes. He's listed for 2,
right.
so they're not telling where he's going to end up getting offed. But I'm sure in the first
season, but when she dropped him off at his house, she's like, you can come stay with us, and he says, "I'll be okay." So maybe that's the last we see of him because they're trying to get out of the city.
Yeah.
The thing
I kind of like Tobias though.
Yeah,
he's kind of the kid that's watched a lot of zombie films.
Yeah,
and he kind of has an idea of like something crazy is going on here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's why he carries the knife to school. That's why he's in the school and he's trying to get more food and save all the stuff that'll last. He's like till the year 3000, whatever, and getting all that stuff. He's the one smart one out of the group. Like something crazy is going here. There's some kind of, I don't know if it's zombies or if it's just a disease that's a plague.
Yeah,
but I need to find some way to survive.
He doesn't know what it is, but he knows something is going on and it's bad. Yeah. He knows that it's some kind of big thing that he needs to stock up for and take shelter.
Yeah, he's probably in tune with all, because those I thought the viral videos would be a real big. A big part of the series, which it just showed a little bit of that first, the helicopter footage of them. And I thought it would go over, it kind of showed it kind of spreading a little bit, but you could tell he was kind of in tune with, all of that probably. But one good thing I like about it is like when you watch The Walking Dead, or you watch any like zombie apocalypse movies, it shows like all the abandoned cars and all the traffic jams and where the barricades come up and the riot gear and stuff like that. Well, you kind of see how these things start a little bit if you think about it. I mean, like just the normal, like you said, Dan, a riot against the police gets all these people together. One thing leads to another. The thing spreads. You got zombies. You got police riot gear. You got barricades. You had somebody trying to break up a riot, and then traffic.
Do you think it was funny that there was only like 5 riot cops? I thought it was funny to me. It's like, oh my gosh, the riot police here is like, there's like 5 of them. We can walk right past these guys. It's totally cool. And the other part that got me cracking up was when they shot the second person there, that they were just like, everybody on screen, just run and everybody go in different directions. Just run. Yeah. You're running from this way, but those people are running back to where you just came from, where the shots were. I don't understand what's happening. But yes, you're right. It's like you can see what was happening. It's a nice look, foretelling of what The Walking Dead shows later on. You see why the traffic jams are there, because everybody's trying to escape cities or trying to get away from certain points, and they just couldn't get out. So,
and soon the government's going to come in. They're going to try to quarantine everybody. People are going to go to hospitals. These people are going to get sick, and then that's when it gets.
See, that's the thing. Everybody says it's starting slow. I disagree. Because they have so much more they have to show of slow. You have to show the start of everybody figuring in zombies. Now more people are getting killed. Now you start the military coming in, and they're setting up camps, and they're bringing people in. And now the camps start getting overwhelmed, and they start getting jumped. There's a lot of buildup.
Yeah, there's a lot to go.
To where
and
Rick
once people start figuring out that this is happening, they're going to start looting and trying to survive each other, and probably hurting each other, trying to get supplies. And
that's so much to go through.
That's what makes me nervous about the show is we talked about it a little last week. Like I'd heard that at the end of this season, I don't know when. I've heard things that said that this show will catch up to the timeline of The Walking Dead. But I don't want that. I want this. Like I want to see humanity collapse. Like I want to see. Sounds terrible. I was gonna say I want to see the death of half the world, but I don't want to see that. But I want to see how we get to where they are in The Walking Dead. Like I want to see that.
I get that, and that's fine.
That de-evolution of humanity.
I can see that happening, but I don't think that can carry for too long. I really don't. You could have the start of it, zombie here, things start dying, riots start breaking out, cops are shooting people, schools are out, work's out, nobody get out of their house, the curfews start coming in. Next will be, okay, there's more people dying, there's a lot of things happening in your neighborhood, cops or the military rolls in. Now you start getting infections inside the camps, and then boom, you're right where Rick is. I mean, it can only go so far and so much shown.
Well, and that's true, because I was going to say, when The Walking Dead started, this had been going on, but it starts with Rick waking up, and people still don't really know what's going on. So I guess they can't go too far with it.
Yeah.
Well, how long did the comic book ever say how long he was in a coma?
I thought it was 28 days, but Matt, I think, said it was a couple months.
I think I read something on IMDb on the message board that said 2 months.
It could be because I may be thinking of 28 days later.
Yeah, you probably are.
So, but I thought it was like a month's time that Rick was in his coma.
Yeah, I think it was 1 or 2 months.
So was the world all right when he went to end his coma, or was there?
He had just stopped some dude in a car from some kind of.
Well, yeah, and that's what they were
whether
talking
that was a zombie or not, but there wasn't really. At the beginning of The Walking Dead, the comic book, and the show, there's no discussion of any zombies. You would think if this stuff is going on in the major cities, that at least Rick and his buddies would know, they'd hear it on the radio of something going on. But in the comic book and in the show, there is no notice, anything of any kind of zombie apocalypse. They're just stopping some guy who is whatever in the town. That's where Rick gets shot. And then
and that's what they were talking about on the IMDb message boards. Was where does this fall? Like, so they were thinking that maybe these first couple episodes, Rick, like maybe at the end of the first episode is when Rick got shot in the first episode of The Walking Dead. So he's in a coma for 2 months. That's where this show takes place, is in that 2 months. And maybe what I read was this show at the end of the season, it catches up with when Rick wakes up. I don't know. They're going to catch up at some point, but I just like seeing the thing happen, just like with Terminator 3 or whatever. Like seeing
do you guys have any clue what the real lifetime elapse of The Walking Dead is in the seasons? I mean, is it years?
No, not years.
I mean,
in the
they
comic,
roll
it's
from
years.
Atlanta to the subdivision to the prison in the comic books, and it goes from summer to winter. And by the time they're at the prison, it's about a year's change.
Yeah.
From there until they get to DC, I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, but it goes back into the fall when they're getting to DC, if you go through the part where they get the cannibals or whatever, and then goes into DC, it could be getting towards winter because then they're starting to wear coats again in the comic book. So maybe a year and a half total lapse time, but it's not like a huge, like they've been there for years. Right. It's a slow process through the comic book as well. That's just me. I've only read through the comic book of 100. Matt's read further than me, so he may be able to see different things in the panels.
Well, it's after you farther than when you got, Dan. They actually jumped ahead a little while, and there's a whole new thing going on now. But I actually read a couple tonight. But this episode, I just thought it was cool because we get to see more of. That's just what I'm fascinated by. It's like I don't, I like the characters. I don't really like Nick all that well. He's annoying. It's like go ahead,
He is.
You mean like pseudo Johnny Depp?
You mean John Falco?
It's like, I mean, hurry up and get over your drug addiction already. Am I right? I mean,
I actually think Nick is cool. I like Nick. He is a drug addict, and he is going through withdrawal right now, which is exactly what somebody in his situation would go through. But he's kind of like, you can tell like the sickness of being addicted to that has taken him over. But he also is like, I'm being honest, it wasn't me just seeing things. This really is happening, and him trying to save his sister and everything like that. He'll still try to fight for drugs whenever you probably get it. But at least he is, I don't know, he seems like he loves his family, but the addiction has too much.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I like Travis. I like his character.
Travis is probably one of my favorites in the show. I really like him.
But I just... so the characters are fine. They're all fine. I mean, Nick's probably my least favorite, but I can deal with it. But more than the characters, like I said last week, I just love seeing this actually happen. Because when we get to The Walking Dead, it's already happened. It's been that way. I love seeing how we get to that point. That's totally into that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree. I think the show probably could have been better if you would have done this from like a Game of Thrones perspective where it jumps from viewpoint to viewpoint to viewpoint to viewpoint, not follow just a single family, but jump from a viewpoint in that family and then jump to a single guy and then jump over here to this lady. And then
you could have stretched it out longer that way.
You could have, and you could have shown the different things that the different things that all these people are going through as this whole apocalypse is maybe
it's going to see what Tobias was seeing, or maybe
correct. It would have been really cool. It would be really cool to see a lot of different perspectives because, like Opie and David said, they think it's rushed. But we're only seeing it from one perspective, which is one family. If you show this from multiple perspectives, this could be a really cool show. And they may do that still. They may go through this first season, and then the next season is a perspective of a completely different person. Yeah. And they do everything again.
Like
You know,
he always wanted
there's
to
a way
see what
you
a
could do
cop
it.
is seeing
Yeah.
or a
Yeah,
doctor is seeing.
you could actually do that with this show. So there's a way to extend your seasons if you wanted to stay within the Rick timeline where he's in the coma. You've seen it from this family side. Now you go over to a cop and you watch the next season all through his eyes and everything from what he had to deal with. That would be kind of cool. I actually like that idea.
Yeah,
You're going through the same timeline, but now you're seeing it from all kinds of different points.
Yeah, and I kind of don't think we'll get that, but
I
that
don't
would
either.
be
That would have been
cool.
really cool, though. I'm gonna have to call them.
Well, they watch this, so
Right.
they'll see.
Right. Yeah.
But
It's
but
like,
I
have
just
you guys seen Game of Thrones? This
Right.
is how they do it.
but I like the whole bit with the riot and Travis and his son and his ex-wife. They hole up in the barber shop and they pull the shutter doors down and just try to ride it out because I felt like the whole episode was really chilling, and I think I said that last week. I think I used that same word last week, but like I just felt chilled the whole time because again, nobody in the show knows what's going on, but we know, and it's like, oh no, it's walkers
Well,
and zombies, get out, but they don't know to get out, or they kind of do now, but.
At that point where she decides not to go out into the yard and help her neighbor at the end of the episode, I kind of
really
thought,
good.
Because I always put I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead and watched it, and you always put yourself in those situations because, I'm not a very confrontational person. I don't know how I would survive in a zombie apocalypse or whatever, but, just making that decision and it being this early and you really don't know what is happening.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool moment.
That's such a good point. I mean, because in The Walking Dead, it would be no thing to them. They would run out and just stab him in the head, and that's it. But this one, they don't know enough. So she's like, better safe than sorry.
Take this as the first of The Walking Dead, where when they were killing things, they didn't know much, even though they're seeing people at a decayed state.
Right. But
at least in this, they're seeing people as real people. I think you also have to take into consideration she just killed the principal.
Yeah.
So first of all, I didn't like her reaction to the end of that. You just killed someone. You don't know what was wrong with them, but you just took a life.
I did think that was a little weird.
Yeah, most people can't really handle that. Now, she has that breakdown in the bathroom a little bit later, but that's not, in my opinion, just the way I look at it. If you were put in the point of a life or death situation, which she was, and she ended up taking the person's life, that's still taking someone's life. That's not a simple thing to just brush off.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't think so.
When they ran over the drug dealer, I was like, what are you guys? You just...
To an extent, you could say protect family first, instinct kicks in.
Yeah.
It's like you're not a confrontational person, but if somebody was attacking your children, you'd be all over them. And it'd be the same, and it's the same for them. Protect and watch out for the family because this is a threat to them. So maybe instinct takes over a little bit. Same with her. She's a counselor. She protects Tobias. So instinct takes over. But after that moment, you have to have that scene afterwards. It's like, oh my gosh, I just took somebody's life. And they try to do it a little bit in the show, but I don't think it was worth to take in. The gravitas of that situation wasn't there.
Yeah, I thought the killing of the principal and the brutal way she did it too by beating his head in.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little early because I kind of feel like she doesn't know what's going on yet. She doesn't know he's a walker. She's at that. I mean, just a minute before, she's like, "We'll get you help," even though he's doing this to her. We'll get you help. So I thought that was a little bit strange. I kind of thought, to make it a little bit more realistic, they should have just had her push him off, hit him in the head with a fire extinguisher. It won't knock a zombie out, I don't think, but that would have been enough to at least get the two of them away, and they could have ran. I thought her like brutally beating him. I thought it was too early.
You never know. It was the whole fight or flight thing taking over. Again, I go back to you two are both fathers, so if your child's in danger, you're going to do everything to protect your child. She is a guidance counselor, so she considers all the kids in her school because she's super guidance counselor, probably all her children. So protecting Tobias was her number one goal. Yeah. She's a mother as well. So, but I still think there should have been some kind of reaction after that.
You're right.
The head of a
that is a good point, and that's something that kind of clicks. Is that the whole family is way too comfortable with the situation. Way too quick.
I guess, that's a good way to look at it. It seems weird that they are. Yeah, you would think they'd be a little bit more cautious. I mean, I can understand the Calvin thing a little bit, but you were inside the truck, so you didn't have to worry about it too much. I don't know.
And because you have the whole Walking Dead demographic watching this show, they let that slide under the rug because, we just beat. I mean, that's what you do. You beat zombies in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just what you do. Nobody really raises the fuss over that.
So I'm with you there. So I don't think the show is going too fast, but I'm with you. I liked your statement just then about they become okay with the situation too quick, and they're not really okay with it, but they
seem to handle the situation.
Yeah, they're
like
handling
super
it pretty
cops.
well.
Yeah. I get that they both come from rough marriages, things like that, and she's had to deal with a child who's on drugs and pulled in from drug houses and things like that. But that doesn't give you the, I don't know. You would think you would have more remorse over running over Calvin or beating the crap out of the head.
Right. When they get in the truck, it's like they have like a plan. It's like they're on the phones, they're getting everybody together. We're going to get food. We're going to go out to the desert. It's like, how do you know what?
Well, I can understand that a little bit because the radio's been saying that 5 states have been covered with this disease. More and more things are going on. She's been in the hospital seeing people pulled in. She works in the schools where nobody's going. I can see that. But I totally agree with you when you say they're taking the death thing like super easy. That's, that seems to be brushed over just because they're zombies. We know that, but they're not supposed to know that.
Yeah, and I think with Calvin, and like you said, they're already making plans and stuff. I mean, it's not just from Calvin. It's the fact that Calvin is dead and he got back up. We hit him with a truck and he still got up. Plus, they're hearing reports of all these people being sick, and like they're starting to put things together that something's going on. Yeah. We need to, and they're not saying get everything you can because we're gonna move. We're just saying we just need to get away from this weird situation for a little while.
And another point is the cops have a reason to really cap somebody. If they tell you to stop and you don't stop, they have the authority to shoot you. Just out of defense or if a resisting arrest. But Herschel in The Walking Dead tried to save his family and they were rotting corpses, and nobody has tried to save anybody, or like she said, I'll get you help. But nobody's.
But then again, there's only been one family killing anybody. It's the cops and a family.
Well, the cops killed the homeless guy. Now I wonder. The one thing I was confused about is why did the cops shoot him in the first? Like, I wonder what he did to make them shoot him in the first place.
The only thing you can think of is, like what we said, cops are trying to protect themselves, and they will give warning, and they will let the person know. If the person continues to do things that they're not supposed to do, the cop has lethal force to do what they need to do. That's their job, because they have to deal with the scum.
Yeah.
So if someone keeps coming, they're not listening to commands that a officer's giving, they're going to go ahead and fire. Whether it's tear gas, whether it's rubber bullets, or whether it's lethal force that they take, they're going to go ahead and do that. Now, once the guy gets back up, now they're freaking out. And they're like, okay, now we got to pop this guy a few more times.
And that's where everybody's guys mentally disturbed in cop videos or high on crack or meth or whatever that cops can barely contain half the time, let alone when they're trying to eat your face off.
Right. Well, it's a whole thing. It's a whole different demographic. People don't understand that, a cop has to deal with the scum of the world, and they have to protect themselves in the line of duty the entire time they're doing it. So they give warning. They do tell you what you're supposed to do. That's their job. But they will take lethal force if need be, and that's part of their job. They don't want to, but they will. If you're not doing what you're supposed to, especially if it's a very dangerous situation. So it could be that the person wasn't following instructions, didn't take to the tear gas, the tasers, anything like that. We don't see all that. We just know that a cop fired on somebody.
Well, I think we were meant to not see that because we were meant to be more. We knew what was going on, but I think they want us to be more sympathetic with the rioters. Yeah. And see, I thought that was chilling too. It's these people were rioting because, like I said, they saw one thing, but the cops saw something else, and we know what the cops really saw, but the whole crowd of rioters don't know. And I thought that whole thing was pretty chilling too, and trying to get away from all that, and Travis trying to get his family together. I mean, the whole and them just not going on. I mean, not knowing what's going on. I'm into it, man.
Yep, I like the show too. So we've got a couple people in our group that are kind of meh, and we have a couple that like. And then, I don't remember where Tim landed. Was he meh or up?
I think was right.
David, Opey, you're kind of meh. Me and you are kind of on the up and up.
Yeah, I think Tim's right in the middle.
Tim's sitting in the middle. So, we kind of got a good conversation piece, a good discussion. So
we'll have to have some kind of dance-off or something to figure out.
I think so. At the end of the season, we'll go at it. Yeah. A little voguing from Madonna, something like that. It'll be awesome. But I... Take us some David Hasselhoff. We'll play his album. We'll dance off to it. It's going to be amazing. But I guess that we can call it there. That's a good place to stop. We will not have an episode until late next week, most likely.
Yeah, because we got Dragon Con in a couple days.
We're going to Dragon Con in a couple days, and we'll be in Atlanta for a few days. If anybody's down there and you see us, say hi. We'd
That'd be
love to say
awesome.
hi to you. You can always find us youtube.com/nerdpunch. You can come to our twitch.tv/nerdpunch. You can come to our
Twitter.com.
twitter.com/nerdpunch.
Facebook.com/nerdpunch.
Facebook.com/nerdpunch. Google.com/nerdpunch.
No, that's
No,
not a thing.
That doesn't even
But
exist.
nerdpunch.com, we post stuff there, and the schedule is there too for upcoming videos. Which, like Dan said, our schedule is going to be wacky for the next few days because we'll be at Dragon Con. I don't know that we'll be posting any video, but we'll be recording video so that we can post it later. That's going to be pretty cool. But be sure to subscribe to our channel to see all that cool stuff and future
we'll do a
Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, and we're also going to do a recap of Dragon Con.
Yes.
As well. So
Yes, we are.
a lot of the things that we did there. So
Absolutely.
But thanks again, everybody, for watching. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time, and hopefully sometime early next week.
Yep.
So until then,
See you guys.